It's very comfortable and lofty. Of course, if you start twisting and turning, you're going to feel a bit of body roll. Foot down. Makes a really nice sound. This right next to me is a Ford F150, and it's finally available in Australia. Well, in saying that, it has been on sale for about a year now. And if you want a truck with a bit of luxury, a 4.5 ton towing capacity, and a lot of power, well, in certain scenarios, this could be a really good option for you. And in this full detailed review, I'm going to cover everything you need to know about the F150 and also expose some of the things that could be a bit better. And before we start, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to receive notifications every time I upload a new car review. But for now, let's get straight into the video. Let's start off with a bit of an overview about the F150. So this is built in left-hand drive in the US and then exported to Australia, where it's then converted to a right-hand drive vehicle, and the process involves removing the body from the ladder frame chassis and of course disassembling the interior and firewall. So it is fair to say that Ford Australia has put in a lot of effort within the conversion. And in terms of key rivals, the F150 is aimed directly at the Chevrolet Silverado and of course the Ram 1500 range, and finally the Toyota Tundra, which has also just arrived in Australia. And moving on to the model range, the F150 is available in either a short wheelbase or a long wheelbase, and there are two model variants to pick from. The first one is the XLT, which comes equipped with cloth seats, halogen headlights, and standard cruise control, whereas this top grade version, the Lariat, comes equipped with more luxury additions and priced from around 140,000 Australian dollars before on-road costs. And in terms of optional extras, the F150 is available in 6 different external colours. White is a no-cost option and the others are $700 each. Right, let's now move on to the design. So the external colour of this is finished off in rapid red, and this being the Lariat version, it receives full automatic LED headlights along with LED DRLs and this big large chrome radiator grille with active louvers that open and close when that twin turbo V6 requires additional cooling. And if we look on the lower section, we've got some chrome and some LED fog lights, and looking even lower, some tie down points and a skid plate. And now moving towards the side view of the F150. So this of course being the Lariat, it is sitting on 20-inch alloy wheels, finished off in chrome and wrapped around in all-terrain tyres. There are also front and rear disc brakes, and this of course being the Lariat version, you get chrome along the side, and in addition to that there are also chrome mirrors with zone lighting which projects LED lighting around the car at night, and as well as chrome side steps and over on the top, privacy glass on the third quarter. However, no roof racks up the top. And this of course being the long wheelbase version, you get an extra 300 millimeters. So in total, this F150 is 6 meters in length. And it's also worth noting that you have a keypad on the passenger side, which allows you to lock the car with a PIN code in case you want to leave your phone, keys, wallet in the car when you're going to the beach, for example. But for whatever reason, Ford didn't add that on to the driver's side during the process of the conversion. And finally, moving towards the back section, a big large chrome exhaust pipe. And now coming towards the rear design of the F150. So from the back, we've got full LED lighting, and on the side, an integrated blind spot monitoring system for a trailer. And on the tailgate, a big Ford badge along with F150 engraved. And looking lower down, chrome step up bar with some plastic on the top, lights and trailer connection points, and as well as a tow bar, as the F150 is capable of towing 4.5 tons. And looking inside the cabin, an integrated trailer brake controller, and finally underneath the tray, a full-size spare tyre. Okay, now moving on to the cabin. So before you climb inside, the F150 receives a remote key, keyless entry, and as well as remote engine start from the key fob and push power start for the ignition. Now, starting off with the design, it does come across a bit bland like many of the F150's competitors, but of course this being the top spec version, it receives a panoramic glass sunroof and as well as some wood trim up the top here and over towards the centre. And in terms of build quality, the door slam sounds fairly solid, and you've also got the really cool door handles like what is featured on the Ranger. And looking up the top here, you've got soft padding, bit of plastic around here and on the lower sections, even towards the center, but the center armrest is also pretty soft, and even on top of the elbow padding. You also get a big leather wrap steering wheel that feels very good to grip onto. And moving on to comfort, both the front row seats have electric adjustment and as well as power lumbar support, and they can also be heated and ventilated. And in addition to the driver, we've got seat memory controls up the top here, and you also have an electronically adjustable steering wheel as well. And you can also adjust the pedals electronically both backwards and forwards. And finally, towards the center, dual zone climate control with physical dials and buttons. And if we now move on to tech, it all runs off this 12-inch touchscreen. You can cycle through the menus down below and also cycle through this left menu to customize what you want to see on display. Now, if we talk about some of the key features, if I go into audio, we've got AM, FM, DAB, USB, Bluetooth, and as well as an 18-speaker B&O sound system. And you've also got speakers on the headrest as well, which is pretty cool. There is also inbuilt voice control, and if I go into this menu, inbuilt satellite navigation with 3D mapping, and this is what that looks like on the screen. You've also got wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, and this is what the CarPlay looks like on the screen. And if we now move on to driving aids, you have a surround view camera with front and rear parking sensors, a top-down view on the right-hand side where you can look at your wheel angles. Now, in addition to other key features, we've got autonomous emergency braking, along with an auto-dimming revision mirror, and on the wing mirrors, blind spot monitoring, and as well as a lane centering system where this car has the ability to steer itself within its lane. You've also got adaptive cruise control, along with stop and go function, and finally, towards the cluster, speed sign recognition. There is also an inbuilt towing menu where you can add on a trailer, perform a trailer light check, and as well as enable other key features. And by clicking on this button here, it comes up with a dedicated towing screen. And you can also steer your trailer with this dial here, and looking lower down, an integrated trailer brake controller. And if we move on to this 12-inch display, it is slightly configurable where you can select what information you want to see, and it shows you everything that is vital, such as navigation, media functions, fuel consumption, driving aids, and other key information. And if we now move on to the off-road modes, we've got two-wheel drive high range and four-wheel drive automatic, and as well as four-wheel drive high range and four-wheel drive low range for off-road driving. And this style here is your drive mode selector. So we've got normal, towing, eco, and sport. And for off-road driving, we've got slippery, deep snow, and mud ruts. And this enables the four-wheel drive system to what the car thinks should be engaged. And to enable the rear diff lock, you just push this button here. And finally, what is it like in terms of practicality? So up the top here, there is a sunglasses holder, and moving along on top of the dashboard, additional storage. And there is also a double glove box setup. So overall, both of them are pretty spacious. And moving along the doors, decent door bin pockets that could also fit a bottle of water. And you've also got a separate cutaway up the top here. And moving on to the center, we've not only got some additional storage hidden along the sides, there are also two cup holders for coffee cups, and in terms of connectivity, a 12-volt socket along with a USB-C and a USB-A port. Additionally, there is also a wireless phone charging pad in this hidden section here, and as well as another USB-C and a USB-A port. And if we have a look under here, additional storage that goes down very deep, and it also reveals another USB-C and a USB-A port. And finally, if I fold down the gear selector and fold this out, as you can see, we've got a table so you can either eat some food, perform some work, or whatever you want to do. Okay, moving on to the back seats. So as you can see, the F-150 has a flat floor, which means for all three passengers, you've got plenty of toe room, knee room, and headroom. And in terms of creature comforts, of course, you've got the panoramic glass sunroof that extends towards the end, and as well as these pull me in handles, LED lighting, and some coat hook hangers up the top here, mat pockets behind the front row seats, and looking towards the center, directional air vents, and as well as a 12-volt socket, USB-C and USB-A port. And it's also worth noting that these two outboard seats can be heated. And if we look up the top here, two big cup holders and a section there for a phone. There are also cup holders on each side of the doors, as well as additional storage and pockets down below. And if we look towards the center, a fold down armrest with two small cup holders. And this window opens electronically as well. And it's also worth noting that you can lift these bottom seats up, revealing a flat section. open, and if you want to separate some items, you can extend this shelf open. You could also drop this right hand seat down to reveal a flat space, and that also reveals the location for the jack. And finally, these two outboard seats are ISOFIX compatible, and right behind me there are 3 top tether points. Let's now move on to the tray. So if I open this up, we've got a power operated tailgate, and in addition to that you've also got a ruler in inches and centimeters, and as well as some inserts for screws and other loose items. And if you want to climb inside, you can pull this out and you pretty much got a step to climb into the tray, which I think is a very good feature. Now, in addition to the tray itself, you get a spray and bed liner, as well as LED lighting, tie-down points and lockable tie-down hooks. And over on the left-hand side, a 12-volt socket, but you don't get the power supply like what you do on the American models, nor the payload indicator on the tail lamps, or the payload monitor inbuilt within the infotainment. And in terms of capacity figures and key dimensions and other additional data, all that information is on your screen now. And if you start playing around with figures with towing and payload, it's not actually that good in comparison to other cars on the market. But aside from that, you do have 710 kilograms of payload, and this being the long wheelbase, it is quite long. And finally, before I forget, you can open and close the tailgate by using the key. Let's now move on to the powertrain. So under the bonnet features a 3.5 litre twin turbocharged petrol V6, and it is paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission along with a full-time forward drive system, whereas if you go for the base XLT, that only comes with a part-time forward drive system. And if we move on to ownership, Ford Australia does offer a warranty, a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and up to 7 years of roadside assistance, and each servicing interval is every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres. Okay, let's now move on to the driving impressions. So at the front, I've got great vision. There's also decent visibility across the side as well. Relatively decent wing mirrors, and finally, rear visibility is pretty decent. And the reversing camera is also pretty decent as well. So if I just take off. So nice light throttle application, like what you would expect for a twin turbo V6. Now, the first thing I would like to mention is the turning circle radius, which is at 13.6 meters. So therefore, yeah, you will be performing quite a few U-turns, and this is also the case with many of the F-150's key competitors. And in terms of the handling, this F-150 specific for the Australian market receives the same steering rack from the Ford Ranger. Overall, it actually feels very nice to drive. You've got a good sense of what the front wheels are doing. And in regards to fuel consumption, Ford claims that this F-150 should be able to achieve 12.5 litres per 100, whereas on a combined cycle, I've averaged around 14 to 15, which is okay. It's a lot better than what you would get in the Dodge Ram, that's for sure. And in terms of ride comfort, the F-150 uses the same suspension setup like what is featured on the F-150s from the States, and that is a good thing because it rides really well on the road. And considering that this does have a leaf spring suspension setup at the back, it's nice and lofty. Of course, you get a bit of body roll when you flick it around a few corners, like what you do in cars in this segment. And it is not equipped with air suspension like what you would find on the Dodge Ram. It's very comfortable and lofty. Of course, if you start twisting and turning, you're going to feel a bit of body roll. It's also worth pointing out that this being the Lariat, you get full-time forward drive for sealed surfaces. So therefore, when you take off or you're going around twisty corners on a wet road like today, you have plenty of grip, plenty of traction. And in terms of the noise, it makes a really nice sound. The power band between 80 and 110 gets up to speed quite quickly. Mind you, if you do launch it in rear-wheel drive only, it does have a little bit of wheel spin, so that is something worth keeping in mind. But now if we move on to freeway driving, as you can hear in the cabin, it's nice and quiet. There's no wind noise, and yes, I think part of the value is the refinement. It is super luxurious on the open road, and I think this is where the F-150 is best at home. Whereas driving around the city, look, it's not a hard car to maneuver or challenging to park in any way if you know what you're doing. It's just awkward because it is long and there aren't many small parking spots. But how does this compare to the V8 powered Ram? Because I quite like that application, and I thought, you know, having a big V8 in a big truck like this will give it a bit of character and make it a bit more unique, because overall it is a niche category. You don't necessarily buy this car to save on fuel. So yeah, power wise it feels fast enough. Foot down. That is very quick. So with my driving impressions out of the way, let's now wrap up with a verdict. So what is my final verdict on the Ford F150? If you want something that can tow, something that's powerful, large, luxurious, and you're not necessarily concerned about its price point, well, I think it's definitely worth considering over its main rivals. But of course, let me know what you think in the comment section down below of my verdict. And if you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, and of course, I will see you in the next film. Thanks for watching.